Hello Wolfpack, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today's article, I originally came across it on Strong Successful Males channel, so shout out to him. The article's called The Financial Confessions, I Won't Date a Man Who Makes Less Than Six Figures. And this has become the real dogma of the dating space. You know, all these women demand dudes earn at least six figures for some reason. It just seems to be a nice round number. 6 feet tall, you know, 6-figure income, 6-pack, 6 everything. But anyway, let's get into it. Last year I broke up with my boyfriend of 4 years. He was the guy I thought I was going to marry, and given that I was on the later side of my 20s and the earlier, so did almost everyone else. But we broke up because we were on extremely different paths in life, no matter how much we loved each other, and his new path involved moving to Denmark for grad school. Since I have no intention of ever living in a Nordic country, why? They always rate really highly on the happiness scales, right? They're rich, abundant natural resources. I don't understand. I mean, there's the amount of natural scenery that's there. Amazing countries. I actually know people who've moved there to emigrate. So, yeah, why would you be so against moving to Denmark? And if you actually love this guy, you know, did you not at least entertain moving to Denmark with him? Nonsense. Since I have no intention of ever living in a Nordic country and did not want to try the 2+ year long distance relationship that he initially suggested, I decided to end the relationship. It was a pretty terrible time in my life, caused by you, and for a long time I tried to guilt him into staying with me in New York, something I'm not proud of. Yeah, so you admitted to trying to psychologically manipulate your partner that you loved so much into not following his career dreams. That's brilliant. So it's revealing a lot about your character. But eventually I realized that even if I succeeded in getting him to not accept the grant and do that program, he would resent me, possibly for the rest of his life, for missing out on that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, as far as I'm aware, grants are very difficult to come by within academia and things, and research. So you can't refuse an opportunity like that. So he was correct to move to Denmark without her and pursue his dreams. He would resent me possibly for the rest of his life for missing out on that. Yes, he would. And that was much worse than the thought of just breaking up. So we ended the relationship, and now, at nearly 28 years old, I'm a single New Yorker again. One thing that I resolved to myself when I finally started testing the waters of the dating pool that I had left for 4 years was that I was only going to date men who made a certain amount of money. The convenient number I came up with was 6 figures, but of course I'm willing to bend on that a little if needed. But the point is that the person I am with should make, generally, about twice what I do. Why? Why, if you're so strong and independent, does he have to make twice what you make? After 3 years in publishing, I'm making just over 50 grand a year, which is actually quite competitive for what I do, if you can believe it. But between my undergrad and grad degrees, I'm also paying $750 a month in student loan repayment. That, to me, sounds like an incredible amount of money to be paying back every single month. Even though I was very frugal about the loans I took out and do not regret either of my degrees. You don't regret them even though you're only making 50 grand a year. You would hope that those degrees would set you up with a suitable and viable career. That's the whole point of going to university, to actually increase your earning power and skills base. If you're making just over 50 grand a year, living in New York as well, I mean, we'll see in a minute what the average, the salary that's required to live in New York. I imagine it's much, much higher than that. So she even admits herself that she's in a low-income career. So my life is pretty minimalist and not in the chic Marie Kondo way. I'm just pretty broke all the time, even with the catering jobs I do whenever I get the chance. After my boyfriend and I broke up and he moved away, we left our rent-controlled junior one-bedroom in Queens, at which we split for $650 each, and I had to find my own place. I now live in a 3-bedroom in Brooklyn with 3 other girls, and I pay almost $300 more to do it. How? Why? I'm constantly trying to make ends meet and have had to borrow money from my parents more times than I'd like to admit, at 28. But part of the reason I'm in such a sucky financial situation is because, during my entire relationship with my ex, I was able to save a grand total of $1,000. Part of this was because I was still in grad school or unemployed during part of it, but part of it was because he barely made any money, and when I was earning my entry-level salary, his cobbled-together income from part-time jobs often needed me to supplement it. We lived on credit cards many months, and for all the holidays we celebrated together, only one Christmas were we able to get each other real gifts. We were constantly broke, but deeply in love, and even though I probably would have married him if he hadn't moved, looking back I can't believe I lived that way for so long. Why not move with him to Denmark and marry him there? It's clear that his move to Denmark was a big opportunity for him if he had, really low income in New York, and he got this opportunity, got this grant. He's basically on the way up, he's climbing the ladder, and you've dumped him at the point where things are really starting to change. So it serves you right. We were constantly fighting over money-related things, and I basically watched as most of my money-related dreams evaporated in front of me. Having a robust savings account and investments, poof. Owning property in New York, poof. Who owns You can't really own property in New York unless you're an absolute baller. We're going to look at these statistics in a minute, but owning a property in New York. I mean, I've never been to New York, right? But even I understand that properties are so overvalued there. It's like any other big city in the world. Being able to afford children here, poof, poof, poof. But I told myself that you don't always choose the person you love, and if our life had to be radically different than I'd hoped it would be, that was fine. But now that I'm on my own again and starting a relationship from zero, I know exactly what it would take for those dreams to be realistic, and the guy I'm with would have to earn about that much money. This isn't a question of me wanting to be floated by someone, it sure sounds like it. I will always have my job and do everything I can to contribute as much as I can. It's a question of, if I am single, that's fine too, but if I choose to be with someone, that person should be able to be a part of the life that I want for my partner. And that's just confusing rhetoric, if you ask me. And that life has a lot of things that cost money, such as having children. While I have the time to be choosy and am not yet in love with anyone, I want to be sure that I'm not choosing someone whose finances will be a constant source of strain. But it's okay for yours to be a constant source of strain, right? This dude's got to come in and cover you, basically bail you out all the time, while you're making low income. It's alright for your finances to put strain on the relationship. There are enough problems in life, I don't want to add financial ones to them. And comfort is probably the biggest aid to any relationship ever. If you are not worried about basic things, you are able to be much happier and more balanced overall. My ex and I were a near perfect match in terms of personality, but even then, our money problems were constantly causing strain. Again, you could have moved with him to Denmark, which the happiness index is substantially higher. I know that a lot of people would judge me if they knew about my rule, but I don't care. I know what I want in life, and I want to be able to move into a reasonable one-bedroom apartment in the city I love with my future partner. And that requires money, like it or not. I'm confident that there is someone out there whom I will love deeply and passionately, and who will also be capable of affording these things in a way my ex was not. I bring a lot to a relationship. I'm an excellent cook, keep a beautiful home, I'm a wonderful hostess, and well-read and funny if I do say so myself, and have a passion for my career too. But I will never be independently rich. That's a great mentality to have, by the way. You can never visualize being rich. You've sort of failed the game before you've even started. And if someone can bring the financial stability to my life, they're a good match. The next guy I love, I want to be the guy I marry, and I don't want to marry someone I'm going to struggle with. If I'm going to struggle, I'd rather do it alone. Yeah, come back to me in 10 years' time when you're still single. Nonsense, mate. So let's just take a look quickly at the cost of living in New York. 2021. What salary do you need to live comfortably in NYC? At least 11 grand monthly before tax. And actually, if we look at the median income for men in the United States, it's about $38,000, $38,500. So she's actually pinning all of her hopes on meeting one of the 9% of human beings that make six figures. As of around 2019, I've got some facts and figures here that 9% of all people, 9% of people make six figures as of 2019. So if we say it's 4.5% of men, she's really, it's like a 1 in 20 chance of meeting this guy. and then actually being compatible with them, and you know they earn the money and they want to be with them, want to marry them. And how many people earn 100 grand a year, dudes that are a similar age? They're going to be like 40 plus, you know, unless, you know, the likelihood is that they're going to be 40 plus. So she's going to stay single, man. It's not, her expectations are completely unrealistic. She had a good thing going for her when she was with her partner before. Should have moved to Denmark if she really loved him that much. I'd be really interested to see how that guy's getting on and what he's made of his career. And if he's married a Scandinavian woman, probably has. So yeah, a lot of women these days, they have these ridiculous expectations. They don't live in reality. And they need to be, they're going to learn the hard way. And we see it all the time. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to comment on the video, share your thoughts and observations, and I'll see you next time.